Thinking about launching a podcast but overwhelmed by all the moving parts? At TurnKey Podcast Productions, we take the hassle out of podcasting so you can focus on the talk, not the tech. From concept to launch, guest booking to post-production, we handle everything. Need a strategy to grow your show and turn guests into clients? Yep, we do that too. DIY or done for you, we've got the solution that fits. Whether you're just getting started or ready to scale, TurnKey is your behind-the-scenes podcast team. TurnKey Podcast Productions. Your voice, your message, fully produced. Learn more at turnkeypodcast.com/contact. That's turnkeypodcast.com/contact.
Here's what you can look forward to on this episode of The Nice Guys on Business.
For me, whenever I come across a client, it's never about me really trying to sell them anything. I'm big on educating them because I just believe once a person is educated, they're just liable to make a better decision.
100%.
So I educate them. I got, when I say three phases of money, the accumulation phase, the protection phase, the distribution phase. The accumulation phase, we're talking about, hey, this is where your money's going to be. This is how your money doubles. We're talking about the rule of 72. The protection phase is 3 ways your money can grow: fixed, variable, or index. And then the distribution phase, we're talking about how your money get distributed based upon taxes: tax now, tax later, tax advantage. So how do you want your money to be? You want it to grow 1 to 4%, or you want it to grow from 6 to 12? You want to go ahead and have it fixed, variable, or index? You want to be tax now, tax later, or tax advantage? So
Driver picks the music. Shotgun shuts his K-hole and has to listen to the Nice Guys on Business podcast. Go from where you are now to where you could be. Get expert tips to grow your business, to be more productive and more efficient, whether you're trying to build influence, grow your community, or make it rain. Best-selling author of Nice Guys Finish First, Doug Sandler, can lead the way. The Nice Guys on Business is produced by TurnKey Podcast Productions. Now, here's your host, Doug Sandler.
All right, welcome back to the podcast. My name is Doug Sandler, of course, from TurnKey Podcast Productions. I was going to call him my co-host. I don't know. There's something about wanting to co-host a show with Tyler. I actually had an opportunity to be on Tyler's show, the Money Master Podcast. I don't know. He was looking for the before. There's a lot of people that are the afters. He was looking for the before. Let me get a real challenge guy out there that has money issues, and then let me work him into the after, and so maybe we'll figure out, am I the before or the after? I think I'm probably the before, at least according to my mom. She's always worried about me. She's like, do you have enough money? Do you have enough time? If I'm working too hard, she'll always say, you really need to relax. You have money in the bank, you're good. And if I'm working not enough, she's like, do you have enough money in the bank? I'm like, is there ever a happy medium for you, Mom? Anyway, we got off track there. Tyler Osborne, he went from the football field to the financial field, and trust me, he's playing offense right now. Tyler is a financial educator, a firm owner, and host, as I just said earlier, of the Money Master podcast, helping people build real wealth without losing their sanity or their priorities. With a mix of psychology, discipline, and a little faith-driven perspective, Tyler's not just talking money, he's talking about building a life that actually works for you. From retirement strategy to generational wealth and his signature 5 F's framework. We're going to talk about that a little bit today. This is where finance meets purpose. Tyler, thank you for being on my show. I can't believe that even after being on your show, you still said yes to being on my show. So welcome to the podcast.
I had to say yes, man. You did such an amazing job on my podcast, and love to come and show you some support and some love, brother. So happy to be here.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. And I appreciate you being here and you sharing. So you've done a whole bunch of stuff. Should we start with personal? Should we start with a podcast? Should we start with your firm? Tell me where do you want to go? Give me just of the 3 right there. Where do you want to go?
Wherever you want to go. I don't mind doing the personal. If you want to do the personal, we could do the personal first. We get that out the way and talk about all the fun stuff now, right?
That's cool. So where in the country do you live? Let's start there.
I'm in Frisco, Texas, a little suburb of Dallas, north of Dallas, probably about 15 minutes of Dallas. Somewhere here.
But you have a Raiders helmet behind you on the wall. So,
hey. So first and foremost, so you see, I got the Raiders helmet. I'm for when I'm a loyal guy to have a Raiders helmet, in the back. That's actually a signed Bo Jackson helmet.
Wow.
Yeah, it's actually a signed Bo Jackson helmet. So it's a real signing. I don't know. That's what they told me where I bought it. Excuse me, it was gifted to me. It was told me who gifted it to me. It was signed by Bo Jackson. It says Bo. It looks like his signature, so I'm assume that it is. But yeah, so, I've been a Raider fan my whole since I could pick my own team, I should say.
Well,
I've been a Raider fan.
your Zoom profile has you in as TO. For a second, I thought you were Terrell Owens, and then I realized
Not even close to the athlete as Terrell was. Not even close, man. Yeah, so short for Tyler Osborne, obviously. Yeah, definitely. But
so family, kids, divorced, single. Where are you in the world?
yeah, married, 4 kids. I've actually been with my wife since I was 14 years old, on and off since I was 14. I could say so. Yeah, seriously. She told me when she met me, she knew I'd be her husband. And I was like, man, we were 14. How the heck did you? She knew for some reason. I guess I didn't know, but we've been together for quite a bit of time. 4 kids, 18-year-old son, 15-year-old daughter, 14-year-old son, 12-year-old daughter. So boy, girl, Tyler born. So she tells me I can make any type of kid I want. So
nice,
it's a superpower of mine.
Well, I've been on and off with women for since I was 14. Also, just maybe 6 different women, 2 different marriages, working on marriage number 3. What is the secret to a lasting marriage and 4 kids and remaining sane? Because once they start to outnumber you, dude, you're in a lot of trouble.
So you want the PG version? Or you want the rated R?
No,
MA
fuck that.
version?
Give me the R and whatever else you got. Tell me everything.
And I have a lot of discipline for one, meaning that I discipline my kids. However you want to put that. That's why they outnumber us, but they're all still doing pretty well. Take that how you want. I just watched an episode of a show called
shit of you, I think.
Yeah, seriously. I watched an episode of a show called Survivor's Remorse. You ever heard of it?
No.
Okay, so Survivor's Remorse. It's currently like on. It started off on Stars. And then now it's like on Tubi and stuff like that. But it's a show, whatever. It has some actors, and basically the guy in this show, he's a professional athlete in the show. He's like a basketball player, or whatever. And he ends up getting his second contract in the NBA or whatever, and gets traded to a team in Atlanta. And like the closest people to him are his mom, his cousin who's his agent, his uncle who helped raise him, and then his like sister.
Right.
And then like they're doing like a red carpet event, and they're interviewing his mom, like, yeah, how'd you help him become such a great person that he was? And she was like, you know what? I just used to beat the heck out of him. She's like, I beat him with a Hot Wheels racetrack.
Oh my God.
Whatever. All kind of crazy stuff. So I'm not beating my kids like that. Never did that stuff. But I am very disciplined and structured with them for that. And then when it comes to me and my spouse, we've just been together for so long that we know each other very well. So when I need my alone time, she just gives me my alone time. When she needs hers, she gets hers. But then we spend a lot of time together. Like I train her, and like when I mean train her, meaning that like we work. I don't work out with her. We don't work out together. I work her out at the gym. Like I'm not. Yeah, because I got to go do my own thing because we ain't lifting the same type of weight.
Understood.
So
she's
that's
probably lifting much
sure.
more than you, right?
Yeah, a little bit. You know what I mean?
Same way with my girlfriend. She that's how we actually met. She was my personal trainer, and then I ended up getting divorced, and I'm like, JJ's kind of cool. Let me give her a call.
See,
call
and that's exactly why I trained my wife, because of stuff like that. See, so that Kim was like, you know what? I want to get a personal trainer. Like, you know what? Nah, I'll train you. Forget all that. Ain't nobody gonna be spotting my wife doing squats but me.
When you were little, like I mean, really little, like when you were like 5 and 6 and maybe even 10 years old, do you feel like your parents had a good relationship with money? Or did you learn that after? I just think I come from a Jewish background, so everybody always blames it on my faith, because they always say, "Oh yeah, the Jews, they got all the money in the world." It's like, I'm like, no, my mom just taught me, like before I went to college, like if you use a credit card, pay it off at the end of the month. Don't be carrying any credit, and if you have a checkbook, make sure you balance it when you had to balance your checkbooks before it was done automated. So how was your relationship growing up with money, and was that as a result of what you witnessed through your parents, or was it something else?
Definitely something else. I didn't know we were necessarily, I guess, broke until I was probably like a teenager or so. But we never really had conversations around money in my household. And the good thing is my parents never argued about it either. I could say that, at least not in front of me. They didn't argue about it. But I kind of figured out where we were financially when I was probably a teenager or so, just because we were living with my grandfather, and my dad, you know what I'm saying, my parents and I were living with my grandfather when I was younger, but didn't realize it until I grew up. Like, oh, we live with my grandpa's at my grandpa's house, you know what I mean?
Right.
So that's kind of that. But they didn't really argue about it in front of me. I found out, started wanting to, my interest in money kind of came in high school just a little bit, meaning that like I took a class in economics, and they talked about stocks, and they told us pick a few stocks, and and I have to pick a few stocks and that ended up performing well. And I was like, oh, that's cool. But I still never really wanted to get into it at that point. That was just kind of like my
Right.
first little instance about it. But no, they didn't really teach me about saving money or anything like that. Unfortunately, I wish they would have, but they just didn't at all. It wasn't until I got to after college is kind of when I got into finances and things like that.
I think that money is like a big puzzle to me. I mean, it's one of those things where, you say the word budget to most people and they think restriction. I hear the word budget and I think freedom. It gives me the ability within a certain category that this is where, look, our entertainment budget this month is this. Our grocery budget is this. We have a budget for gas and electric. We have a budget for our pool guy. We have a budget for our mortgage. We have a budget, everything has a budget. I look at it as freedom, and JJ, my fiance, looks at it as restriction. How do you teach whether it's your kids, your family, your clients, how do you teach them about budget? If I said the word budget to you, what does it mean to you?
First of all, I believe you are on the correct path when you say budget gives you freedom. Kind of reason why I titled my show Money Master. I want you to master your money so money doesn't become your master. Because I truly believe a lot of times people are living slave to money, meaning they're going to do anything for it. They got to do this, or they're pulled every each way based upon the amount of money that they have, and they don't know how to handle it properly. Instead of telling your money what to do. So when it comes to budgeting, I believe a person should definitely have one. I believe it's called the 7-10-20 rule, which just talks about you live off of 70% of your income, 10% off of it, you go ahead and save or invest, and 20% you go back to paying off any debt. Now, let's say you don't have any debt, you can go ahead and reverse that around, and 70% live off of 10% you go ahead and give. I believe givers gain, and then 20% you go ahead and invest and save. So I believe that can be a good strategy for someone who's just starting off trying to figure this thing out. But that's probably one of the simplest ways I could talk to somebody about it who doesn't have one yet, if they don't want to go into all the details. But I'm big on tracking things, man. I believe if you want to attack it, you got to track it. That's just kind of my motto.
Yeah, yeah, and that can be measured, can be controlled. Also, I'm a big believer in that, and I love, I use like QuickBooks. Even though I have an accountant, I use QuickBooks, and I'm like, hey, this is cool. I get to track where all my expenses go. And I'm not a big spreadsheet guy. I hate spreadsheets from a work perspective. But for my budget, my monthly household budget, I have everything written down every month. I'm like, check, there's the mortgage, check, there goes the, the cat sitter payment, check, there goes the cat food, check, there goes the money, whatever it is. And the challenge is oftentimes that, and I'll just relate to and I know my community has heard me say this many times before about my own personal life, so I'm not afraid to share it anymore than I've always done it. JJ, my girlfriend, she is a spender. She likes to spend money. She does not like to think about money. She doesn't want money controlling her. And the challenge is that when she doesn't allow the understanding of money to get into her life, it's the exact opposite. I think it runs her life more than she really feels like it does. Me, on the other hand, I've always had a feeling of, I want to know where it's going. I want to know how I'm spending it. So I've been always a saver. And so when you put two people like that in a room or in a relationship, it can create some friction because she wants to go out and spend money on a dinner. And I'm like, hey, you know what? I really do practice delayed gratification. So if we want to go out for that dinner, let's make sure we have $200 sitting in the bank so that when we go and use our debit card, not our credit card, when we use our debit card, it's sitting in there already. How do you deal with that I'm sure it's something that you have to deal with clients all the time.
Absolutely. A lot. So when it comes to couples, there is always a spender, there's always a saver. And it's very rare that I see both of both. Right. But there are instances where I do. Like I meet both our spenders, like, dang, how are y'all both spenders? And then all the times I meet people who are both savers, but it's usually one person's a saver, one person's a spender. And then a lot of times what you have to do is you kind of have to go ahead and kind of reverse engineer it back to what is it that they ultimately want, right? What do you ultimately want one day? And a lot of times when they tell you what they want and you break it back down to what they're doing, what the hard conversation is with the spender is always going to be like, they feel like they're limited to what they can go ahead and do. And the saver, you're very similar to me in my relationship. I'm the saver. My wife likes to be the spender. I believe in delayed gratification as well. So a lot of times, especially when it comes to eating, now I'm like, well, what do you want to eat? And she'll explain. I'm like, I can probably cook it better than they can.
Right. And think about it too. Let's say you want salmon and you want to have a nice salmon meal. You can get a nice piece of salmon at the store, get 16 ounces. You both can have 8 ounces, which is a lot of salmon. It's more than they'll serve you. They'll usually do a 4 or 6 ounce portion at the restaurant.
Yeah, 4 ounces.
And they're serving it. Their cost anywhere between $25 to $40 for that piece of salmon. And then they'll serve sides above and beyond that. So by the time you're done and you have a drink, by the time you're done, you're easily over $100. Where if I did that at home, I could do it for well under $30 for everything. Oh yeah, but you got the prep, and it's it's not quite as fun. And I'm like, no, I have a really good time when I know I have that $70 extra staying in the bank.
For that $100, I can have a whole lot of salmon.
Right. Exactly.
With some leftover. I ain't just got to eat the 4 ounces. That got some salmon for the next day and the next day as well. Like,
and with a family of four, you go out with a family of four.
6.
I'm sorry, 4 kids,
Yeah,
6 of you total.
Yeah, man.
It gets out of hand. And your kids, kids want appetizers. They want desserts.
Absolutely.
They want a fun lemonade drink. And
they want all that.
Mama always wants, I want that old fashioned, or I want that martini. It's like, I don't know. By the time you're done, it's $200 at least.
I didn't realize until after my 4th child was born. When you start going to restaurants, you have 6 people, they automatically just take gratuity from you. There's no like, I was like, wait a minute.
Parties of 6 will automatically.
Automatic 18% automatically. Wait a minute. Oh yeah, you got a party of 6. Like, dang, there's 4 kids meals here. What are we talking about?
Right.
But that's just how it is when you have so for me, eating out, it's easily $200 to $300 usually. Whenever we do it. But I do a lot. I think we talked about this before, or maybe we didn't. I do a lot of cooking. I do like 85% of the cooking in my house. So just because I enjoy it, and then I teach my kids how to cook, because one day they're going to need to learn how to do it anyway. So, but eating out, and when you're dealing with couples, that's probably one of the bigger things. Eating out, and also their subscriptions. Like, oh my goodness, people have so many subscriptions that they don't even utilize. Like, it's crazy how many people have subscriptions. So I just really reverse engineer it, ask them what they want. Is this worth having? Do you is something that you want? And I don't want to limit them. I just want to help them understand it, because if I try to tell them to get rid of something, they're going to want to keep it. But if they come to the conclusion like, yeah, dang, I really don't probably need this, or I could do this, or I can get, it's not about cutting back necessarily. Right. It's just about having a clear understanding of what you're doing. I think when people get a clear understanding of what they're doing, they can make the decisions of cutting back on their own, instead of me being their boss and telling them what to do. So that's not what I want to be.
Yeah, I mean, you can look at just somebody's subscriptions alone, and it tells you a lot about them. You look at somebody and they're spending $300 a month on subscriptions, and they don't even they might say, yeah, what are we spending, like $50 on subscriptions? By the time you're done adding everything up, you're spending $300 before you even have paid yourself that 10 or 20%, depending on which direction you're going. Yep. I remember in the early 90s, before I hit this world of self-employment, which I have become self-employed and have been unemployable for the last 35 years or so. But I was in the mortgage business, and I remember that the doctors would come in for their mortgages, and the professionals, the attorneys and accountants and financial planners would come in to us for mortgages, and they would be bringing in a huge amount of money, $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 or more, let's say. And these guys, they had the $1,500 Porsche payment. They had they came from either a rental where they were spending $4,000 or $5,000 a month on. And I'm going to make a comment, and I just want to hear your feedback about it. If I make the comment is, generally people are broke. They're just broke at different levels.
Oh yes, unfortunately.
So why is that? And tell me what you think about what that comment means to you.
Yeah, it's called lifestyle creep, dude. And unfortunately, what happens is when people start making more money, instead of saving more, they just start spending more. Right. So, like the doctor you're talking about right there. So he probably went from being in medical school, barely making any money, to all of a sudden he got his first, his first job as a doctor somewhere, going from making basically no money, being in debt, to now he's making $300,000-$400,000 a year. And he's like, shoot, I got to find a way to spend it.
So gotta get even.
Exactly right. So he finds and they will find a way to spend it. So now they're having large checks come in every month, but at the same time they got nothing saved. It's because a lot of times their mindset wasn't taught to start saving money as they get more. Some of them are just, they're spending more as they get it. So what happens with those type of people, man, and those sometimes are tougher, because they're like, well, man, I make money. I'm like, well, how much you got to keep? How much of it have you kept? because based upon how much you make and you're spending, you're going to be 60, 70 years old and still be broke. You're going to be still working. And I think people like that, they really need someone like myself. It doesn't have to be me. I'm just saying in general, they need someone like myself because they could take so much more advantage of it by just starting to save, or invest for themselves.
Think about it. I mean, your role as an advisor is almost as much as an advisor as it is as an accountability coach. I think I would have a very hard time going through talking to my financial planner and following his instructions or following his advice and going back to him on our next meeting and saying, how'd you do on the advice, Doug? Well, I didn't follow any of it, but I'm still feel good about myself. And of course he's going to pat me on the back and say, hey, no worries. You got time, but you have less time than you did a year ago when we met last time, or 6 months ago when we met last time. So I always think about, if you would just have someone in your life that was an accountability coach, an advisor, no matter what you're doing, whether it's financial planning or podcasting, it's a great way for you to at least deal with a professional that actually has been through the steps before, so that can help you. And also at the same time, it works towards your advantage as you get a little bit older. People that come to you in their 20s, they don't have everybody in their teens thinks they're immortal. Anybody in their 20s thinks that they got plenty of time to retirement. When you get to your 30s and 40s, and I'm in my 60s, when you get to 60, you think, geez, have I done enough? And even though I've always been a saver, I still think, well, the variable is how long am I going to live? That's an easy question. How much am I going to need in retirement? Well, the harder part is how long are you going to live for? It's
that's true.
Okay. So how do you get somebody that's in their 20s to listen to you? You got to start with your kids, first of all. But how do you get to beyond your kids, talk to your clients in their 20s? How do you get them to listen to you when it comes to thinking about advancing their life down the road 30 or 40 years?
A lot of times, we don't have to start large. We can start small. Because when it comes to finances, it's not about the amount, it's about the habit. Once people start getting to the habit of investing and saving money, it becomes a lot easier. A lot of times when I meet someone that's, let's say they're in their 30s or 40s that haven't already created this habit, that's harder to go ahead and start for them because they've been making money for a while. Yeah. So the earlier I get them, it's a lot better for the person, just because you can start off, let's say you're 20 years old, you start saving $100-200 a month, or investing in $200 a month or so, and you can do very well just starting off with that. Yeah. So for them, I tell them how crucial the habit is of saving money, and then I teach them about the rule of 72, which just teaches compound interest, and that's just, it's going to take time for this to compound. Yep. And the sooner you start, the better it'll be for you. So for me, whenever I come across a client, it's never about me really trying to sell them anything. I'm big on educating them, because I just believe once a person is educated, they're just liable to make a better decision.
100%.
So I educate them. I got, when I say three phases of money: the accumulation phase, the protection phase, the distribution phase. The accumulation phase, we're talking about, hey, this is where your money's going to be. This is how your money doubles. We're talking about the rule of 72. The protection phase is 3 ways your money can grow: fixed, variable, or index. And then the distribution phase, we're talking about how your money gets distributed based upon taxes: tax now, tax later, or tax advantage. So how do you want your money to be? You want it to grow 1 to 4%, or you want it to grow from 6 to 12? You want to go ahead and have it fixed, variable, or index? You want to be tax now, tax later, or tax advantage? So,
man, you are so talking my language. And then there's a bunch of different products that you can use too, whether it's just straight savings account, whether it's stock market, whether they're annuities. You have insurance. Insurance is a great financial product as well. I bought whole life insurance in the early 90s, and anytime I need, I borrow a loan for myself. It's the best thing to do. It's I think it's called something like the infinite banking system. I'm not really into the IBS, but I do understand the concept of it. And my kids, if they ever need money, rather than reaching out to me with a handout, I say, well, you have future inheritance. You can borrow against it, but you need to pay it back, because if you don't pay it back, you won't have that when I go. So I would encourage you, if you borrow that, to pay it back. And I'm watching every month, because they're borrowing against their own future inheritance. I'm watching the policy and all.
That's awesome.
I just think about, I started my kids in their probably even pre-teen with the concept of what money is all about. And my son, and both my kids, my son and my daughter. My son is 30, my daughter is 33. And I think about how excited my son gets when he sees things like, hey, I'm contributing 15% of my income is going to my 401k, and they're matching the first 5% dollar for dollar, and he's watching it get to 20,000 and 30,000. He's like, Dad, I got $100,000 in the bank, and I'm like, he's 30 years old. Oh,
Yes.
God, to have that at 30 years old and to think about all that time that they have, and I'd love to hear your thoughts about when somebody comes to you and they're not contributing to their 401k. What are you telling them, or what is your concept? What is your feeling about contributing to any type of employer savings program?
I'd rather you have that than nothing. First of all,
right, exactly.
I'd rather you have that than nothing. And my question is like, why have you not contributed? Because there's probably some type of root mindset or belief behind that. So a lot of times I have to go ahead and help them change their belief system by educating them. So if a person's going ahead and not contributing to their 401k or not contributing to their deferred compensation plan, I got to figure out why they're not doing that. And then now here's the thing. 401ks, they are how do I say this properly?
You don't have to say it. You don't have to take the velvet off the sledgehammer, dude.
All right, cool. They're the most popular plan out there when it comes to retirement. That doesn't necessarily mean they're the best.
No, I agree with you.
Retirement. So I'd rather them have that than nothing at all. But then I want to educate them about how the 401k works, so they have a complete and full understanding of it as well. So that's my job. My job is to educate them. I like to call it the truths to the 401k. So I break that down quite a bit.
The thing I love about 401ks, and again, I'm not being counter what you are saying. I'm on the same page as you. I think that there are many better ways to save money through other than a 401k. For example, a Roth is right now to me a better vehicle to put your money in than a 401k that might be tax deferred, and you're just paying. You're going to pay taxes on that money at some point anyway, and although the assumption is you're going to pay it at a lower tax rate when you go to retirement.
That's what they say.
They say, but you never know, because look what the fuck is going on with the government right now. That's number one.
Right.
So, I think about it, and let's say somebody's bringing home $500 a week as a part of their check, and they get the 401k, and now they're bringing home $450 because they're contributing, let's say 10%. So $450 they're having taken out. Well, I needed that $50. They say. Well, I say just go with it for just 3 weeks, just 3 pay periods. If you get paid weekly, you will not fucking miss it after 3 weeks. And they're like, dude, I haven't missed that ever. I don't even. And then when you get a raise, I'm like, now contribute more to your 401k, or put it in another vehicle. Pretend like you did not even get a raise. Take that extra $5,000 that you're getting a year and just put it into a Roth, or put it into life insurance, or put it into anything other than your pocket, because you're going to spend it. So curious what your thoughts are about that.
I'm a believer in automatic savings. If you can set up automatic savings for yourself, it's going to be crucial for you. Meaning that you don't have to go in there and move it yourself. It could just automatically come out your account or your paycheck or anything like that. That's probably one of the best ways for people to save, because now they don't. It's kind of what's the phrase?
Set it and forget it.
Out of sight, out of mind. You know what I mean? Set and forget it, exactly. And there's a book called The Millionaire Next Door.
Yeah.
Which is an awesome book. I can't remember the author, but I do recommend the book for sure.
Same.
But The Millionaire Next Door just talks about how, there's different people all throughout the life that you don't, the people that you see with the Armani suits and the, gator shoes on, driving the Mercedes Benz, whatever it may be.
Right.
They're the ones that actually broke, you know what I mean? And then the guy that's driving the Honda, you know what I mean?
2012 Honda.
2012, you know what I mean? Going to the grocery store in sweatpants and a t-shirt. That's the real millionaire, because they're not worried about the flashy things. They're focused on what really moves, which is going to be assets. But it talks about in the book just having automatic savings, and I've been a firm believer of that for years, that setting that up is a strategic way to make sure that you do grow ahead and grow your retirement, grow your wealth, and ultimately your net worth as well.
So can we talk about the podcast for a couple of minutes? Is that okay?
Absolutely.
All right, cool.
This is your podcast. You ain't got to ask me what to talk about on your podcast. We're going to talk about it.
Well, I want to be kind. We'll get to it eventually, but shit, man, you don't have to be kind to me. Just tell me, fuck no, I don't want to talk about the podcast. Let's move on to something else. So, Nice Guy Community. So Tyler, he hosts this show called the Money Master Podcast. And I'm really curious, because I know you've seen all shapes and sizes of people, whether they're professionals or normal people that are looking for assistance in the world of finance. What's one money lesson that you wish every listener would actually take action on? If they could take action, let's give it to my audience. We're just going to summarize your podcast into one piece of advice. What would it be that you want every listener to take action on?
And I say this every time. It's so cliche, but it's so true. Just pay yourself first. Like, just pay yourself first. Like, why would you work so hard for your money? And then as soon as you get it, you go pay everybody else but yourself.
All right, let's talk about what that means, though, because I think there's a lot of people in my audience that might not know what that means. So let's just say pay yourself first. So you see a paycheck and the paycheck says $1,000. Now take it from there.
$1,000. All right. Go ahead and take 10% and put it towards you, your savings, your investments, whatever it may be.
Yeah, or Tyler, but it's tight this month. You know, we had an extra subscription that we bought. I wanted to take my lady out to dinner, so we did that. I just don't have the $100 this month. I'll make it up next month, or I'll just contribute next month instead.
Yeah, no, you won't.
Okay.
Don't. Here's the thing: you can't lie to yourself.
But how do you teach somebody that is underwater every month to pay themselves first and understand what the reality of that actually is meaning to them?
So if you're underwater every month, meaning that you probably have things that you're paying for that you might not need, or you're overspending. Most times it's just overspending, meaning that, we have to go out to eat. No, you don't. Like, or we have to go ahead and go to this movie. No, you don't. So a lot of times you're still dishing your money out to other people that are not you. When it comes to your money, the most important person is you that's going to be involved with it. So we have to change that mindset. That's going to be the main thing, is we got to change their money mindset on how they think about money. If they think money's going to be something in which it has to go to everybody else because that's been their thought process as they've been growing up. As soon as I got to burn a hole in my pocket. We're going to have a problem there, because at the end of the day, I can't force anybody to save money. I can't force anybody to invest it, but I can go ahead and point them in the right direction as far as that. And that's my job, is to educate them, point them in the right direction. So if you're not paying yourself first, what's going to end up happening is you're going to look back 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 years from now and wonder what the heck happened, where did all my money go? If you're in that process or in that thinking, it's going to harm you more than anything. So
let's play a scenario for a second. Somebody's got $5,000 on a credit card and they're paying 29% interest. They have a student loan that they're paying 10% interest, and they have rent that they don't pay any interest on, but they can't be late, or there'll be a late fee on that. How do you prioritize those three? And I know there's many, many more than just the three. People usually have multiple credit cards. So how do you know which ones to pay off first, and how do you know which debts to tackle?
Oh, I love these questions, man. So there's a strategy we use. It's called the debt snowball effect. And what we're going to do is look at basically the interest rates of what you have based upon your debts. So we want to attack the highest one first and pay the minimums on the rest. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and put extra money towards the one that has the highest interest rate, and then put the minimums towards every other single debt that you have from
All
that.
right, hold on. I'm not going to be a contrarian here, but I'll play devil's advocate for a second, because I'm sure that many clients are going to ask you this question. But Tyler, you just told me to pay myself first, and if I have a 29% more credit card for $5,000, I can pay that, but I thought I had to pay myself the 10% off the top first. So if I'm making $1,000, I pay myself $100. How do I attack that credit card debt?
Put that $100 to the side, and then let's start attacking everything else.
Okay, so still pay myself first.
Absolutely. Because you say if you're making $1,000 a week, I'm not you right. If you said you get $1,000, I don't know if the person get paid weekly, bi-weekly, doesn't matter.
Right.
Regardless, it doesn't matter. I'm still paying myself first. Now, if it's not the 10%, we got to start somewhere. 8. We got to do something. We got to start building that habit. We have to do something. There should be no way you spend all your money then say, I got this left over to go ahead and save. That just sounds foolish to me. So we have to do that. And nowadays too, if you feel like if a person is in a situation where they're not making enough, there's so many different ways to go get a side gig now that you could start, making more money. What I find out is this: now, some people do have a savings problem. A lot of people do have income problems as well. They're just not making enough money. So if that's the case, we need to go ahead and help you start making more money that you could start saving it. So if you do go get a side gig, what you do with that side gig is you actually save that money. Don't spend it and just start making more expenses as well.
So true. So true. I love the concept of, yes, you need to tackle your high interest rate credit cards or whatever it is that's the highest rate. You know, you have a loan, it's with, I mean, and companies make it so fucking easy for you now, you know, Klarna and all, hey, we'll give you 4 months of interest free. I will absolutely take advantage of every 0% rate finance. Tyler, I cannot tell you the last time consumer debt, I paid any percent on consumer debt for anything that I've ever borrowed. But I will be happy to take advantage of those fucking banks as much as I can, especially the banks that are like, hey, you put $25,000 and you get $750 bonus. All you have to do is keep it in here for 90 days. I'm like, hell yeah. Thank you for the $750, Chase.
We'll close the account after.
Right. Then just close the account or do whatever you were going to do with that money. But the other thing that's interesting is that most people, unfortunately, get caught up in the transfer your money to our credit card for a low introductory 12 months at 0%, and then you'll be susceptible to the higher interest rate at the end of the 12 months. Most people are like, they're just going to, on top of all that, they're just going to spend more money. It's 0%. Of course I'm going to spend more money. But then at the end of 12 months, they're stuck with the same 29%, except it's worse because now they've put all this other stuff that they thought was going to carry on at 0%. I don't understand why people put themselves in a position to lose. I feel like the banks, yes, they're against you. They want, and look, the banks are in business to make money. But it doesn't mean that we have to fall prey to their mechanisms. Thoughts?
I agree. I use the banks before they use you. Like that's definitely my thought process, especially when they're giving out points and airlines points and restaurant points and cash back. Like if done properly, you should be using that to your advantage, not being taken advantage by people. Also, when it comes to debt, I think people use debt the wrong way. Consumer debt's probably, obviously, in my opinion, the worst type of debt you could have. Terrible. You should be using debt to purchase IPAs, which is income producing assets. Like that's the whole point. Like if you're gonna use debt, use it to go ahead and help you get wealthy, not put you back in more debt. So if you're eligible to go ahead and get a credit card for, you know, $30, $40, $50,000, use that to go invest into something that's gonna help you make more money. So that now, when you do get that credit card bill, you're using the money that you created from that asset to pay that off. Now, eventually you have the asset free and clear, then use that money again to go ahead and get into another asset. So wealthy people call this buy, borrow, die. Like they buy stuff, they borrow against it, and then they never sell the asset. They just go ahead and pass it on when they die. And that's what people should be doing when it comes to their debt. Use that money to go ahead and get more income producing assets.
Another great book that you just reminded me of as you were sharing that is Rich Dad, Poor Dad. It's the same concepts. It's like buy the assets that even if you take on debt, you're using those assets to help you later on to buy more stuff. That is, again, another. It's really fun to play the game of how much money can I make passively. I love that. I love having rental properties. I have 4 commercial properties. I love having my own piece of real estate that I'm actually living on and can borrow against if I want to. I love insurance policies that have cash value that you can borrow against. Anything, Nice Guy Community, anything that you can do to put yourself in a position to make money and then capitalize on that. I'm telling you, a car is a depreciating it's a depreciating item that you're going to have sitting on your driveway that the moment you drive it off the dealership lot and spend $40,000, the moment you drive it off the lot, that car is worth $30,000.
Yep.
Go out and buy yourself a classic Ford that might be 50 years old and spend $5,000 on that. If you really have to have a vehicle that's cool, drive that around and sell it 5 years later for 10 grand. The best way to buy an asset is one that appreciates. Why would you fucking want to buy something that doesn't appreciate?
Yeah, exactly. And on top of that, nowadays you can go buy a car and put on, what do they call it, Turo? and now
that's right.
A car started making money for you. You know what I mean? So instead of just having to sit around doing nothing if you're not driving it, but definitely, man, you got to go ahead and use debt to your advantage, not let it take advantage of you.
All right, so you started this podcast. You have how many episodes of it out there now?
Man, as of today, we just released episode 73.
All right, so a little over a year then, or a year and a half or something like that into it?
A year, a little over a year and a month or so.
So talk to our community about like what kinds of things they could expect if they're listening to your show. Because I really want, for those in our community, I had a chance to be a guest on Tyler's show, and he has some great questions. And it's what's really cool about it is it's not a formulaic show where it's like, okay, I've examined the 10 questions. I know prepared going into this interview what the 10 questions are going to be. Tyler just has a conversation with you, and he's really a great host of the show, which was why I wanted him to come on our show too, because I wanted to see him see how it's actually done the wrong way so that he can actually do it the right. So, but a really, really fun host to have, ask questions to. So talk about the makeup of your show, format, and what people could expect when they're listening.
Yeah, so I interview elite performers, entrepreneurs, professional athletes, and we just really just talk life. I learn more about their journey, how they got to where they at, how they became successful, tips they can go ahead and offer anybody else. Then we talk financial education as well. So on the podcast, I'll be interviewing different people, talking financial education, and different ways how you can go ahead and help yourself, whether it be personally or business wise as well.
When you started the show, what was the idea? Like what got the bee in your bonnet for you to say, "Oh, I want to do that. I think having a podcast would be cool, and being a host of a podcast would be cool." What was the motivation behind it?
It wasn't even my idea. My marketing team.
Oh,
Someone was
okay.
like,
They said
you know what? You should probably open a podcast. I was like, yeah, I like to talk. All right, let's try it. So when I remember my very first episode, I was so nervous. I was like sitting in front of the camera, talking, and I was just like, what am I doing? And then
you get that
I just
imposter
kind of got into the
syndrome. Like,
groove.
what am I doing?
Yeah, like I'm sitting there, as I'm talking, at like middle of me talking, like, what am I doing? And then I kind of went back, watched and listened. I was like, huh, okay, if I do it this way, I'll sound a little bit better. And I just started, critiquing myself over time, and I felt like I was getting better at least.
Right.
And I want to say probably my first 15 episodes, it might just be me talking. And then I finally was like, I need to get some guests. So I just started reaching out to people that I felt like were interesting individuals and wanted to learn more about them and their journey and things like that.
One of the cool things that I've picked up through podcasting, and I'm sure you're learning even early on in your journey. We've been doing our podcast now for 11 years, and I don't know, 17 or 1800 episodes of our show. Wow. So one of the things that I realized was that, there's a lot of really cool people that are out there that are almost untouchable. If I'm just a regular guy picking up the phone, I could not call Gary Vaynerchuk and say, "Hey, Gary," or "Hey, Ariana Huffington, would you want to be, would you have a conversation with me?" But once you have a podcast, you become a media company, and you own your own media company. And I love the fact that I could call any publicist that represents anybody and use the credibility of 1,700 episodes, or in your case, 100 episodes, or whatever it is. You can use. Look, I told you this when I was on your show. You've passed the milestone that most people quit. 12 or 13 episodes, pod fade. The second time is right about where you are now, about a year into it, and people are like, "I'm 50 episodes in. Like, I haven't attained my goal yet." So, I think that there's got to be a better way to do this, or maybe I'm going to stop podcasting. So I think about all of the cool things that I've been able to accomplish with my podcast that I never thought was even possible when I first got started. I mentioned to a lot of my podcast clients, there are hidden gifts in podcasting that you don't even realize where you're sitting right now that you're going to get. If you had to look back to the last 70 plus episodes of your show, what would you say would be a hidden gift that you have gotten that you didn't expect to get as a result of being a podcast host?
I didn't realize it until people started telling me that I was a good interviewer. Like, I'd never even crossed my mind, because I just asked a question and just listened because I was genuinely just curious,
Yeah.
That was one thing that I started to notice is like, and I guess I should have probably knew that ahead of time because I wanted to go to school to be a marriage counselor, but then I got married and decided I didn't want to do that no more.
Interesting.
So just me being able to ask a question, listen, and really understand and learn more about a person and genuinely just be interested. So I didn't want to be a person that had someone come to my podcast and I wanted to be interesting. I wanted to be interested in them. So I just kind of found that gift, like, I can really just sit here and listen to a person talk and share their story. Because I believe everyone has a story.
Right.
Every single person has a story that they can share. My gift is just helping bring that out of them and listening so other people can go ahead and relate.
And I think that and I think you do it specifically, especially a great job at this. The soft skills that you have, interpersonal relationships, building relationships, empathizing, being compassionate, being understanding, comprehending, not just sticking to the questions on the sheet. Like when you prepare an interview, you have your 10 questions, or you just say, I'm just gonna whatever the conversation happens to go in that direction. Like what I think those soft skills are so important. But how do you approach an interview?
I usually do have questions ready, but that don't mean we're gonna get to them. You know what I mean? Like even for your interview, I had some questions ready. Like I don't think we got to. I don't think we got to like half of them. We probably even get to. And I had one earlier today that I was on with somebody. And he came in and we went over the questions. He was like, "Yeah, I don't like any of these." I was like, "All right, no worries. Let's record."
I know. Don't you love when the guests that you have, or if you've gotten it through an agency or something, are like, "Hey, can you send us the questions that you're going to ask?" I'm like, I don't fucking have any questions, dude.
You're right. Like, man, what do you mean? Send me like, oh my goodness, just hop on. Let's just talk, dude. Like whatever happens, happens. At the end of the day, like it's built to be organic and have good content. That's what I want. I just want it to be a normal conversation between two individuals that are coming together. That are really just talking, and other people are listening. Our listeners are really just flies on the wall at the end of the day. So.
I love it. And I love how you approached our interview. There was a segment on there, and I'm about to pay a tremendous amount of respect to you because I think you deserve it. You've earned it over the year plus that you've had your podcast. You had a section on your show where you asked me, it was like rapid fire, right?
Yeah.
Okay. What's that section called? Do you remember what the?
Yeah, it's rapid fire questions.
Oh, okay. So that is okay. So because of that, I thought I remember doing that on your show. Because of that, I'm going to ask some quick hitter questions to you. Okay. This is just
real quick before you do it. The reason why I started doing it is because I was on someone else's podcast and they did it to me. And I was like, dude, I got to do that. I got to incorporate that. It's just so fun to me.
I don't know that it's ever going to go anywhere other than this particular episode, but I'm like, I'm going to pay some respect to Tyler and I'm going to ask some, what I am calling the quick hitter questions. So you're going to give me your spin by selecting only one of the two. I'm going to ask you a series of two items that are in one category. You're going to tell me which of those two you relate most to, and I think I have like 8 or 10 of them. Okay.
Okay. Cool. So it's like
I don't know,
like multiple choice, or it's just two
I'm
choices,
gonna I'm gonna read 2 words to you. You pick the one that you relate to the most. Pretty much.
All right, cool.
That's how that works. Okay. I don't know that it's going to mean anything at the tail end of that. I wish I had like some quick way to kind of spin the answers into something.
Personality test or something.
Yeah, maybe there's Rorschach. I'm going to hold up some ink blots to you at the end of that. Okay. Here we go. I'm going to read 2 words. You give me the one that you relate to the most. Stocks or real estate?
Ooh, shoot. Dang.
I started with a hard one, I guess.
Real estate.
Okay, cool. I think I know the answer to this next one. Saver or spender?
Saver.
Risk or security?
Risk.
Oh, really? Discipline or motivation? Go ahead.
Go deep into that. Yeah. We'll talk about that later, though.
You can go ahead. Talk about it. Risk or security?
When I think risk or security, it's because I'm an entrepreneur and I just know that. And if I don't take any risk, I'm not going to get to something that I want to do in life. That doesn't mean I'm taking every single risk when it comes to my money. But I'm just thinking entrepreneur wise, like I'm willing to go ahead and take risk.
I am like, it's funny. I am like the anti-entrepreneur. I have been an entrepreneur basically my entire life. However, I am the safest. I like take no risk. I don't like to take any risk, except I don't mind taking risk in like diversified risk is okay. Like for me, I'm like, okay, well, I'll go into the Magnificent Seven, but that doesn't mean that I won't also have some mutual funds instead and some more longer performing stocks. Everything doesn't have to be Nvidia, but everything could be, whatever the S&P 500 or whatever. Okay, discipline or motivation?
Oh, discipline.
Okay, faith or strategy?
Faith.
All right, legacy or lifestyle?
Legacy.
It's interesting. I want to leave a legacy too, but I love my kids, but I'm saying this tongue in cheek. Fuck my kids, because it's like I got to live for me first. I want to be able to leave for my kids. I've created an insurance portfolio where my kids will be well taken care of. I don't want them to be so well taken care of that they can ignore responsibility in life, but I want them to be. I want the grief that they are experiencing be cushioned by a larger bank account, at least a little bit. Okay, so I would be more in the. I like legacy, but I'm a lifestyle guy for myself. Morning or night?
Well, I'm a morning guy.
Okay. Coffee or tea?
I don't drink either, man.
Really?
But
What's
I
so what's your
don't,
what's your do
dude.
you do any caffeine at all?
I don't, man. I'm naturally high. Like,
Do you do are you like okay, so if I were to ask the question, well, I it's not going to be coffee or tea, but coffee, tea, or old fashioned, what would you do you drink or do you don't
I don't even drink,
you
dude.
don't even drink?
I don't even drink, man. And I can tell you the reason why I don't
Okay,
do
what?
any of them. So, we haven't spoke about this, but I grew up in the hood, man. Grew up in the hood, born and raised East Side, San Jose, California. Majority of my friends growing up are either no longer living in prison or struggling on drugs. I started drinking when I was 13 years old.
Oh,
So by the time I was 18, I was over it.
right,
All right.
right.
So
But
I
that doesn't
just
stop you from coffee or tea. I mean, that's not really.
it doesn't, but at the end of the day, like when I first time I ever really had coffee, I was like, yeah, it's okay. Like it just tasted okay to me. It doesn't, I didn't have a great taste for myself. And then tea is just, it's just, I only drink it when I get, not feeling well for the most part. So I'm not like either one of those every single day. Now, what I do, I'm a smoothie guy though. Like
Oh, okay.
I love me a good smoothie.
All
Like,
right.
oh yeah.
All right. So
I
where
love
do
me.
you go? Is there a local joint that you go for a smoothie in your town that's unknown to everybody else, or is there a national chain like what's the one called that you see at the airports all the time?
Yeah, I enjoy Smoothie King, but
Yeah,
that's nationally
Smoothie
known,
King.
obviously.
Yep.
But I'm a Osborne Kitchen type of smoothie guy. Like,
Are you
like
do you do like protein shake kind of smoothie or because I had one this we have one every day pretty much in this house.
mhm. I'm a all fruit smoothie, very, 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 very low fruit juice in it. Like the fruit juice I put in it, it's like it has like zero type sugar stuff, or whatever.
Right, right.
But then I'm mixing in some Greek yogurt and peanut butters and a whole bunch of fruit and ice and
Nice.
yeah, dude,
Do
I love it,
you
man.
supplements? Do you do supplements at all?
I don't, man. It's crazy. It's crazy. I just got my body scan probably like I do it every month. So my last one I had was last month or this month, I guess it's still this month, it's not May yet,
Right.
on April 7th. And my biological clock or age,
Yeah.
when I did it in February, excuse me, in March, uh, I had a body of a 40-year-old. I'm 38, so I was 2 years older.
Yo, body. Wait a minute. How would you take that? Is that
I
good, or
was
you have to catch up?
No, so I was like, dang, all right,
You
I got some work to
pissed.
do. So I did it again this month in
Yeah.
in April, and now I have the biological clock of a 37-year-old. And
It's
so
too
in a month,
fickle. It's too fickle. If you can do that in 60 days, if you can change the biological age of your body, it shows you exactly how vulnerable your body is to what you put in it, doesn't
oh,
it?
absolutely. But I lost 17 pounds within 2 months.
Nice. Okay, I got
So
it now. I got it.
so
Well done.
so yeah, and then it was the guy who was reading my scan to me. He was like, yeah, he was like, dude, how did you do that? I was like, man, I just locked the F in. Like
Right, right.
I played sports my whole life. I know how to lock in when I need to lock in, so I just lock the heck in, and I don't take any supplements. I'm all natty, all natural, and yeah, just yeah. My
All
my
right,
son
that's
said the
cool.
other day, he said, "Dude, Dad, you want to take some protein?" I was like, "Yeah, I probably should, but I'm good. I
Well, as long
probably will
if
get to it."
if you're feeling good, I think somewhere around I think maybe like 50, maybe 55 at the latest, things
Hmm.
started not to recover as quickly in my body. Like I would do some work under my car and then I would get up and like the next morning I'm like, why does my shoulder fucking hurt? Like my shoulder shouldn't hurt. I
You
worked
slept
on
wrong.
yeah, I sleep wrong or what did I do? I go to the gym and I will do some lateral pull downs
Hmm.
and like the next day I'm like why does this muscle in my neck hurt? It should not. So quick recovery things, adding more protein, obviously adding more fiber into my
Yes.
diet for good dietary balance. Vitamin D, extremely important. Vitamin A, vitamin C, all of the different supplements, omega-3 fatty acids. I mean, that kind of stuff. Even I think, and I don't know how you feel about this, and I have never done this, but I've examined whether it's something that I should be doing. Should I be doing like testosterone?
Hmm.
Should I have any monthly injections of something like that? Nothing I'm not trying to do it for bulk. I'm trying to do it for recovery time because I think that you lose a lot of hormones as you get older. And at
We do.
61 now, I'm like, fuck, it's like I just want to be able to go to sleep, wake up, and not have my body hurt in the morning. And I'm trying to figure
Yeah.
out how to make that happen.
And for one, you definitely don't look like you're in your 60s. So every time you send, I'm like, what is he talking about? So yeah, that's awesome on your part that you don't look at, and your energy is so much higher than the average 60-year-old, which is beautiful as well. But yeah, man, I'm big on doing what each person feel like is best for them. Like my body's gonna be different from your body, just like everyone's finances are
Right,
different as well, and
right,
everyone's
right.
health. So if it works for a person, I don't knock it. Like, hey, if that's what you want to do, go for it. This is how I am. It's been working for me. It's crazy because even when I played football, like a lot of my teammates, and they're not no bad. I'm not talking about they're doing steroids like that, but they were taking creatine and stuff like
Right.
that, which I just never took it. And creatine's not bad for you either. It's just I just never did it.
Well,
That
I
just
think
wasn't for me.
I think about, the creatine in the podcasting space is like paying for listeners or ratings and reviews. And I'm
Ah,
not
yeah.
against people doing that. I'm just against people doing that if they think that that actually is going to be an effective tool to build a community. You pay for listeners, or you pay for subscribers, or you pay for ratings and reviews. The moment that you lift your foot off of that paywall, that credit card, or that money that you're paying to get that service, all of those things disappear. And
Yeah.
so, even though we could have tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of people listening every episode because of the longevity that we have had our podcast, the reality of it is that I'm not going to get caught in the world of over marketing or overbuying or over adding advertising for listeners or people. So we've done everything organically. We have a few thousand people that listen to every episode. We've had 6 million people over the last 11 years listen to our show. I feel like
Wow.
the people that want to listen and stay tuned into our show, they'll fucking stay into our show. And I feel like if they don't like me because I either talk too much or don't give the guest an opportunity to say their answers, or because they don't like me personally, I'm like, you know what? If you're one of those people, I don't need you in my audience. Goodbye. It's
Mhm.
fine. I have the right people in my audience that makes me a healthy living, that makes me healthy relationships with the people. And I feel like we really do provide a valuable service to those in our guest seat as well. And I really appreciate you sharing. I did not even come close to asking all of my quick hitters, so I got four more. Can I ask four
I'll go
more?
for it.
Okay.
Absolutely, of course.
All right.
Absolutely.
Coach or player?
Ooh, coach.
Okay. Book or podcast?
Podcast.
Podcast. Okay. Hustle or balance?
You said what now?
Hustle or balance?
Oh, hustle.
Okay, he's a hustler. And lead or follow?
Lead.
So I probably would have gotten maybe 7 of those 12 for you, right? But for some reason, I was thinking, when you said coach or player, you said coach. I was thinking, you've mentioned football a number of times in this. I was thinking he wants to be a player. He definitely would be a player.
hmm The thing is, and it's funny you said that because, yeah, the younger me would have said player for sure.
Right? Right.
Absolutely. But I'm in a different stage in my life in which like because I currently coach my kids in life in just
Right.
just
Of
in
course.
general, you know
Of
what I
course.
mean? Whether that be in their faith, our family, fitness, finances, fund, our 5 F's. But I'm always coaching. That's just kind of where I'm at in life now is coaching, and I enjoy it, man. I enjoy seeing a person has a point of view, but being a coach, you have you could view the whole picture. So it's a little bit different. And I just kind of love that portion of it at the moment. And even it's funny because even when I was playing, like we'd have little, what's it called, events in which we'd have to coach kids and stuff like that. And I just always loved it and enjoyed it. I enjoyed it so much. I wish, especially when it comes to sports, that if a person could coach before they play, they'd see the game completely differently.
Oh, sure, for sure.
Yeah, man, you'd see it completely differently. So,
Tyler, this has
uh,
been the fastest hour in 20 minutes that I've ever had in my, normally my interviews are like 20, 30 minutes, not because I feel like I can't get any more content out of my guests, but more because I feel like I don't want to push the conversation. And the last hour, which is so untypical of me to have a guest on the show, this has been so rewarding for me, much more rewarding for me, I'm sure, as it has been for a guest for you to be on the show. What should I be asking you, or what do you want to share with my audience that would be helpful, more so for them than just for me to hear an answer? Because I've been asking you questions like, it fits into my life pretty well. So what's something that I should have asked you that I didn't ask you?
um, I'm big on what are called the 5 Fs. That's what my foundation of my life is. I've been around these 5 things, which stands for faith, family, fitness, finances, and fun. And I just truly believe a person can do all those in one day, and can continuously get better in all of those in one day. And I just want every single person listening to the call right now, or listening to the call, but the podcast, just focus on getting better 1% in those areas every single day. And then 100 days from now, you'll be 100% better. So that's what I want to leave people with.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. And if somebody wanted to get more information about your 5 Fs or any program or anything that you are doing, I would absolutely recommend that you listen to Tyler's podcast, and I'll make sure I put a link in the show notes for that as well. But is there anything that that you want to share, leave, provide?
Yeah, they could get a hold of me, moneymasternation.com. That's the website for the podcast. They go check out and listen there. Then obviously you can go ahead and find me on Instagram and the TikTok, MoneyMaster408. There are not 408 or 407 other Money Masters out there. It's just
sounds like that
area code from where I'm from.
Yeah, sounds like that might be an area code.
Yeah, it's just shouting out, I guess, my hometown a little bit. But yeah, you reach me on those areas, and I love to have a conversation with anyone and kind of go from there.
Tyler, do you have access to your podcast from your website?
Yes. As soon as you go to the website, you can go ahead and check out the latest episode as well. Then, but we're everywhere. Apple's,
Spotify,
all the places, dude. We're everywhere.
I got it.
Yeah.
So I'll put a link in the show notes. So I'm not Nice Guy Community giving you so many places to go that you don't go anywhere. I'm just going to give you the MoneyMasternation.com podcast. I'll put a link in the show notes so you have access to that. Tyler, this has been a great conversation. We got to figure out ways to do stuff together, whether it's webinars for people, master classes, anything like that. I really think that we play well together.
I agree, man. You're such a good conversationalist, easy to talk to. I mentioned to you before, I think we're off for, like, man, sometimes your interviews, you're just like, man, all right, we need to hurry up and wrap this up. But with this, I've enjoyed it so much being on your show.
No, I appreciate it, Tyler. Thanks for being here on the show today. Nice Guy Community, never underestimate the power of nice. Again, special thanks to Tyler. All of his information will be right there in the show notes. Steve O'Brien, go ahead and take us out of here.
Click on the Patreon link in the show notes. And for as little as $2 a month, you can help support the podcast and get access to fun bonus content. That's like half a cup of Starbucks coffee once a month, a grande, double shot, maybe a little flavoring. Thanks for listening. I mean, seriously, you need to cut back on your caffeine anyway.